good morning, good evening. I know that necessarily wasn't in order, but I hope that you're having a wonderful, wonderful day, regardless of what time you're listening to this, what platform, and where in the world. Welcome to the Jelocorp podcast once more. This is our third official podcast, and today I have such an incredible guest with me. I have Guy Adam, a new member of our team. And with a new member of our team comes a new perspective, a new way of doing things, a new way of viewing things, and a different perspective and expertise. Guy is an advocate for health, and ever since he walked through those doors, the one thing that he talks to us about is how we can maintain a healthier sense of living, how we can continue to build upon our strengths, our bodies, our minds, and the fitness that comes with all of those things. I'm going to give over the mic to Guy, and he's going to tell you a little about himself and also the things that he's here to talk about. Guy?
Thank you very much, Alan, for that great introduction. Like you said, my name's Guy Adam. Yes, I know two first names in one, obviously, name. So, yeah, it's interesting. Just some background on myself. Before I started in the recruitment agency, in the recruitment space, I was a personal trainer for probably the last 8-9 years. I've also done many courses on physiology and anatomy, and I have a passion about just being healthier. Like Alan said, we want our bodies to perform at the best, and we have one body, so we need to try and make the most of every single day to try and be as healthy as possible.
So, Guy, tell me, you've obviously had a very long history of health and fitness and wellness. What have you come to discuss with us here today on the podcast? What have you come to tell our audience and how they can improve their lives, not only, within the general sense of life, but more specifically within the workspace? What can people do within the day-to-days, their 9-to-5s, to be able to maintain a healthy body, to be able to maintain a healthy lifestyle? What can people do, right? Besides, there is the obvious, get up and take a walk, but what else can you add on top of that? And what are, I think, more reasonable things that people can do that's not go take a jog at lunchtime or something? Can you tell me a little more about that?
Yeah, of course, Alan. I think, especially in this day and age, we sit in front of or behind a desk for probably around 8 hours a day. Majority of that time we are sedentary. So there's not a lot of movement going on. Obviously, we have our lunch break or half an hour lunch break, some of us. But yes, there's not a lot of movement going on during the day. So I'm just going to give you a couple of tips and tricks that you can maybe try and maybe follow that could obviously aid you in being a little bit healthier just around the desk and obviously in your office. So first things first, what we're going to look at is obviously get up and move. I think that's probably one that we all know works, but we shouldn't just be getting up and moving just because we think, okay, cool, it's time to get up and move. You can actually put some procedures in place to make this a lot more sustainable, and obviously it's not going to interrupt your work or your workflow as much. There's something called Pomodoro timing. So basically what it is 25 minutes of solid work. So if you're able to, in some industries, unfortunately, you cannot turn off your cell phone. But if you're able to, you turn off your cell phone, all notifications, and you work solidly for those 25 minutes. After that 25 minutes, you have a 5-minute break. That's where you can walk around, switch your phone back on, switch on your notifications, and get all of that done. You repeat that 4 times. After that, you have a 30-minute break in total. So that could be a point where you go get some coffee, obviously go to your bathroom, maybe get a snack or something like that. This type of basically timing allows you to stay consistent in your work, as well as gives you basically a 5-minute reward at the end where you are able to move around, get some blood flow back into your body. Obviously, with the blood flow comes more oxygen. The better oxygenated your blood is, the more basically critical you're able to think and you're able to basically work a lot more efficiently and a lot better.
Oh, wow. That is fantastic. Pomodoro. Pomodoro? Yeah? Okay, Pomodoro. That's going to get some, that's going to take some time getting used to. Hey, guys, don't disrupt me right now. I'm in my Pomodoro routine. I'm in my Pomodoro era. So, Guy, I want to ask a question. You know, obviously, the beginning of any journey is very difficult. And I wanted to ask with the Pomodoro, because it sounds super interesting, what are the tips that you have, especially at the beginning?
Alan, that's a great question. So with the Pomodoro timing, it actually started off from an Italian chef. He created obviously this timer for cooking, but people, you can buy them online on like places like Takealot or something like that, where you get the Pomodoro timer where basically you can keep it on your desk, and it counts down your 25 minutes into your 5-minute rest or relaxation or whatever you want to do in that 5 minutes. Especially like when building a new habit, I think it's extremely important. First things first is just to try it out for a couple of days. I know generally what happens is some people try it out for a day and it may not work out, and you think, oh, okay, well, this doesn't work for me, so I'm not going to use it again. So I think try stick to it for a week. Even if you just start off with 2 sessions of 25 minutes with a 5-minute rest, and then go into a bit of a break, and then maybe try it again. Or if you feel, okay, cool, it didn't work for me today, maybe just give it a day's break and then just try it again. I think it's also important to find what works for you. I'm not saying that this is going to work for everybody. I know it was developed, it's developed for people with ADHD, so someone that can't concentrate for long periods of time. So obviously in that sense, if you're worried about obviously not concentrating, or you got a lot of work to get through and you're always switching between different ideas, I think it's important to outline those 25 minutes. Set aside, okay, cool, for these 25 minutes, I'm just going to be concentrating on this task. Make sure that task is done in that 25 minutes, or if you need a second session to get it done, then at least you know, okay, cool, that task is done for the day, I can move on to the next section.
I am so glad I asked that question. I had no idea this was from Italy. I can now start saying buongiorno. That is Italian, yes. I hope it is. Yeah, but that is absolutely incredible. And I know this is something that I will be implementing in my daily routine as well, the Pomodoro. Guy, what's the next tip that you have for us? You know, to all of our listeners, Guy comes with a wealth of knowledge in these. So this is going to be our first episode, and we're going to turn this into a series called Health Tips with Guy. So if you like this, then, you know, catch into next week or the week after, and watch out for Guy's episodes. But going back to Guy, what's the next one that you have for us?
Thanks, Alan. Our next one's going to be just staying hydrated. Obviously, some may think it's quite a simple thing to remind yourself about, but I think a lot of us, we're addicted to coffee and obviously caffeine. So that being said, we just got to remember to stay hydrated during the day. I know here where at WeWork, where we are currently working, there's a coffee station on every single floor. So that being said, obviously with the coffee, the more caffeine you have, obviously it leads to dehydration. That is if you aren't drinking water in between your cups of coffee. Obviously, the more dehydrated you get, it does lead to some cognitive impairment. Obviously, you feel a little bit slower. You're not able to make decisions quickly. You may lead to a little bit of confusion or feeling really tired. So yeah, staying hydrated, I think, especially for if you are on the ball all the time and you need to have quick answers and you need to be sharp in your job, obviously whatever role you're in. I think being hydrated is extremely, extremely important.
I'm pretty sure that with the Pomodoro will lead us into a whole other level of wellness and health. So, Guy, I have a question. So if, let's say, I have, regular, water to drink, what if I have an Energade or something with water in it, right? What does that mean for me? Is it the same effects? Can I get a juice? Can I get water with little berries in it? Or does it strictly have to be, H2O? What do you have to say about that? And for everyone that's, wondering, because sometimes people say, oh no, I just drink tea all day. It tastes better.
Alan, that's seriously a great question. I hope I can elaborate correctly. Especially with your juices and stuff. So it's going to give you, majority of them have, even though they say sugar free or they don't have a lot of sugar in, they still have like some type of flavorant or colorant or something like that. So generally what happens with that is it spikes your glucose level in your blood. Obviously with that spike, you do feel better, you feel a little bit more energized and everything else like that. But at the end of the day, you're not hydrating yourself as much as you possibly should. Your best source of hydration is basically water. That can either be sparkling water as well. I know I'm not the fan of just plain good old water, but I change it up with sparkling water every now and then just to obviously give your mouth that sensation of the carbonated drink like a Coke or a Red Bull. Obviously you don't get that sugary taste with it, but at the end of the day it sort of does dwell that craving of something sugary or something like that. And on the second point with the tea, and yes, you may be drinking tea all day and it does have water in. It is obviously made with water, but if you look at it, tea's got more caffeine in it than coffee. So caffeine generally leads to dehydration, which leads to, obviously, like we've said, some cognitive impairment, not being as sharp. So yeah, obviously one cup of tea, one cup of coffee a day is not going to kill you. It's not going to dull all your senses, but it's when you start hitting that 3-4 cup mark, it is going to become a bit of a problem.
Oh, wow. I have come out of this conversation with you feeling a lot more educated, right? And I know that you came here with a lot of points to talk about, and that is the beauty of us being able to have multiple episodes. That is the beauty of us being able to have you in the office, not only as a colleague, but as a mentor when it comes to health and wellness. To our audience, I want to challenge you this week until we have our next episode next week with Guy. I want to challenge you to be able to take the hints, take the tips that you have learned and heard about here today and implement them in your life. It takes 30 days to form a habit. So the first couple of days is always going to be the most hard, is going to be the most difficult. So ask yourselves, what can you do to make sure that your health and your wellness are at peak performance? Because when these things are at their peak, then you yourself and your performance in the workplace is at its peak. And who knows where it could lead to? It could lead to a promotion. It could lead to greater opportunities within the workspace and also within your personal life. You don't feel so sluggish after work or during work or before, or you don't feel so drained when it's the weekend, and you can go out and hang out with your friends and partake in more fulfilling activities besides sleeping in all day on Saturday because you feel so tired during the week. So that's it for this episode. Tune in next week for more of Guy. Guy, do you have any last remarks? Where can we find you? Where can people find you if they have questions or if they want to, get involved in that personal training that you were talking about?
Thanks very much, Alan. Appreciate taking the time out for me to come and chat to you today. You can find me on Instagram on guy_Adam, or you on LinkedIn, just Guy Adam. Those will probably be the two best areas to look for me. Cool. But thank you very much. Appreciate it.